RotoBaller Game Day.
Welcome to week 2 of the NFL season. It's go time. RotoBaller Game Day is live with you. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We are all over social media this morning. Well, technically this afternoon now, getting you ready for week 2 of the NFL season. As always, Kyle Richardson, Senior Fantasy Analyst at RotoBaller.com, joining you and with me, the man that makes it happen behind the scenes and the face of the show, Mr. Jacob Hubman.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Well, it's good news that you're here. You're down in North Carolina. You're braving the storm to help us bring one of the best live shows for fantasy football today.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter if there's a hurricane or a tropical storm or a tropical depression or just a little bit of rain. It's fantasy football, and we got to talk about it.
Whatever it is, we're braving that storm for you. And I tried on Twitter. I said, if we got 1,000 retweets, you were going to do the show from the rain out in your front yard.
I was very glad that is one goal that you set that we did not hit because I don't want to be standing outside.
Yep, absolutely. So we're getting everything going right now just to kind of get a couple of things. As always, we're going to get to your questions, so don't worry. If you're on YouTube, you're going to be popping them in there. Don't worry about it. We're going to be getting to those questions here in just a minute. Right. And then we're also going to be over. I mean, if you're on Twitter, drop your questions there, whatever you need. We're going to be going to that. So give me just a moment. It looks like we're having a little bit of an echo, maybe.
It should be gone now. It should have started right there at the beginning, but it should be good.
Okay. Again, that weather playing games with us. So hopefully it is better now. So let us know over in the comments if you're good to go. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, it should have been right there at the beginning, but I think it's something we got straightened out here on this end. We should be fine.
Cool. All right. Excellent. Well, we're good to go now. No more echo. So just, again, real quick, RotoBaller.com is your destination for all things fantasy football. Make sure you're heading over there. We're going to be answering your questions today, but we need you to, if we can't get to you, if we don't get all of your questions in, RotoBaller.com, our start-sit tool, you can type in all of your players there, and it's going to tell you who we believe you should be starting and sitting, give you some projections and things like that. Also, make sure that you're downloading the RotoBaller Fantasy Football app, which you can find on Android or Apple. Download that. You can set up alerts to your phone. I've been getting alerts all week this week with all the injuries and things going on around us, with the Josh Gordon news yesterday, which we'll talk about, right to my phone, letting me know what's going on. All of our articles are on there. Waiver wire picks. So if you need to work the waiver wire on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can find those waiver wire picks right there. Everything you need is on that app. So download that today if you haven't done that yet. Also, pretty cool for RotoBaller viewers. So as we get into the analysis here, just want to let you know that our friends over at FanPicks are hooking up all RotoBaller fans with some freebies. So if you sign up now for a free FanPicks account, you'll get $25 for select DFS contests. It's quick, it's easy, it's all free. No deposit is needed. Just go to rotoballer.com/FanPicks and use the promo code BALLER25 to sign up. Every Sunday, we'll be hosting a free DFS contest called the Magic Million. You're going to compete against other readers. Most importantly, you're going to compete against Jake and I. Jake, your lineup is set, correct?
My lineup is set, good to go, and I'm probably going to win.
Oh. So if you think that Jake is wrong and you're going to win, make sure you head over and you sign up right now. You can check out their entire FanPicks portfolio of DFS contests, including easy pick games, in-game contests, and much more. Remember, rotoballer.com/FanPicks to claim your free $25 and try to beat Jake, try to beat myself, try to beat other RotoBaller readers and writers in the Million DFS free roll today. Lineups lock at 1 o'clock, so get on that when you can. Good luck to you, RotoBallers. And I think we need to get into it now. We are ready to roll. And as we did last show, let's jump in some inactives real quick. I want to toss out those inactives. So we already know going in today, Greg Olsen inactive, Christian McCaffrey, Devin Funchess. I know we use the hashtag #NeverFunchess, but I think we need to put it on hiatus right now until Olsen's back. What do you think, Jake? No?
Nope. Sticking with it. Never Funchess. Never
Funchess. Okay. Funchess gets a slight bump for Olsen being out. CMC gets the biggest bump. I tweeted last night that I think he's the #1 PPR running back this week. Devonta Freeman also out. Tevin Coleman's getting a huge bump. Darren Sproles is out. if you are in deeper leagues and you have Corey Clement and it's PPR, you might want to take a look at him. Just keep an eye on him today. Alshon Jeffrey inactive, so Nelson Aguilar gets a huge bump. Marquise Goodwin is going to be inactive today. Keep an eye on Garcon and Pettis. And then Josh Gordon, obviously being cut last night. Let's jump into that a little bit here real quick, Jake. So I actually don't, let's say cut, because he hasn't been cut. But they're moving on from him. They're trying to work out a deal right now. If they do release him, he becomes an unrestricted or he becomes a restricted free agent. So there's a lot going on with that. What are we making of the Browns situation now, especially here in week 1?
Me personally, I think they saw enough here in week 1 that I don't know if they. I mean, there's all kinds of reports. I don't want to go off of rumors. I mean, it doesn't sound like it was anything, related to his past issues, which is a good thing. I mean, the most importantly, I want to see the guy be able to, get his life back together and actually produce something with it. More than anything, though, I think it's kind of a good thing. The Browns, maybe he just needs a new start. The Browns have some young wide receivers, one that I know that you're really high on, and Antonio Callaway and Rashard Higgins is there, and maybe Gordon can go somewhere like a San Francisco, a Dallas. There's New England out there. There's Green Bay, Indianapolis. I mean, there's all kinds of options. And if he can go there, you know what? It may be a good situation for him.
Yeah, today, especially with that being at New Orleans, okay, Jarvis Landry is going to eat today. I mean, if you have him, you have yourself a legit wide receiver 1 in PPR, possibly even standard leagues. As we saw last week, his average depth of target was a lot higher than what it was the year prior. So really excited to see what he does the rest of the season. He's a guy that I invested in. I was really surprised that all offseason Gordon was picked above Landry in almost all formats. But Landry's the guy there now. He is the wide receiver 1. Antonio Callaway is getting the start today for Cleveland. What is he going to bring to the table there in New Orleans? I think we have to give Njoku a huge bump. I think we have to give Duke Johnson. I think we need to even think about him getting a bigger bump. He didn't get into the game plan really last week. Carlos Hyde was the guy. They really rolled with him. But you can't forget that Duke Johnson was a running back 1 in PPR leagues last year. They're going to get him going. Todd Haley is way too smart to just leave one of his best offensive weapons sitting on the bench majority of the game. He's going to get in there. He's going to get going. They're going to be ready to roll there in Cleveland. Obviously, like you said, we hope whatever's going on with Josh Gordon, that he continues to just keep steady and he lands somewhere. And more than likely, there's a team out there that's going to say, you know what, we're going to take a shot here, especially if he is staying sober and not actually dealing with anything. The hamstring injury, we got to find out what's going on with that, because it sounds like he is hurt, but to what extent? So we'll keep our eyes.
That was a heck of a photo shoot he must have been in.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have loved to see the pose he was in the middle of when that happened.
That's true. So, and now let's talk about some of the early games. People that were questionable heading into today. Marlon Mack is active. I don't want anything to do with that Colts backfield. How about you?
No, absolutely not. Not until we can figure out who it's going to be and who it will be consistently. I mean, right now I'm kind of just hoping on maybe Nyheim Hines may have been the one that kind of carved out a little bit of a role and can actually keep that pass catching role. And outside of that, though, there's too many question marks.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you on Hines. He's a guy that I've been high on all off season. He comes in week 1, and after a bad preseason with a few fumbles, He comes in week 1 and has a decent role for that week. So we'll see what happens this week. But overall, staying away from them, especially with Mack being back now. That's 4 running backs that they could potentially use. Paul Richardson is active, so he is ready to go in Washington. DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller were both expected to play today, even though being questionable. So I know last week we talked about Fuller being out, what was going to happen. This is a nice matchup for them. So if you have Will Fuller and you've been waiting to deploy him, you probably put him out there today. Marcus Mariota, sounds like he's going to be active, but we don't know what to get from that. If you have Marcus Mariota, leave him on the bench. Don't even consider it. Is that what you're rolling with right now, Jake?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just no telling what's going to happen. They've already come out and said that Blaine Gabbert's going to play also, and the last thing I want is my quarterback to have to share. I mean, usually we talk about that with running backs, not quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that situation at all this week. And I'm probably trying to stay away from as many Tennessee players as possible. Corey Davis, I'm not dealing with it. Even Jonnu Smith, who was taken over for Delaney Walker, a lot of people grabbed him in excitement, thinking, okay, I've got Delaney Walker covered now, or I got this guy to help me at tight end. I'm staying away from that situation as well. Deshaun Jackson is active, cleared the concussion protocol. but that offense last week supported 3 wide receivers. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Mike Evans, you're definitely starting. If you have Chris Godwin and he's more of like a wide receiver 3 or flex play, I'm okay with that. I'm leaving Deshaun Jackson on the bench, though, this week if you have him.
I mean, he didn't really do a whole lot all week. We didn't even know he was going to play, until, a few hours ago, it seems like. And yes, he is somebody who showed that he was effective last week. But more than anything, I'm not quite ready to buy the hype of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't think he is now the new greatest of all time. He had a great week 1, but he's going to have to put together a solid week 2. I've already seen reports come out saying that even when Jameis comes back, it may not be his job. And that, to me, is a little shocking. I mean, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's not like it's some, all-pro quarterback just waiting his turn. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. And people kind of forget after the week 1 that this is the guy who had a hard time completing passes to his own team here just a few years ago. And now all of a sudden they're ready to crown him, the new starter in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is active. Devontae Adams is active. If you have Aaron Rodgers, don't get cute with it. I know there's worries there. I don't think he's going to produce high QB1 numbers, especially against that defense there in Minnesota. He's not going to be able to move too well, it sounds like. But if you have him, start him unless you have a really good backup. If you have like another top 10 quarterback that you think you could place in, then I would recommend doing it if they have a better matchup. But don't get too cute with it. Don't try to start like Blaine Gabbert, like we just talked about. Don't try to start him over Aaron Rodgers today. Devontae Adams, I'm putting him out there. Cam Meredith is inactive again, so we'll have to see what happens with that situation. The wide receiver situation, I thought Traquan Smith might end up making an impact last week. Didn't, so we'll keep looking at that and see what happens. And then for the late games, and we'll talk about these a little bit, we'll take some questions here in a minute. LeGarrette Blount, Rex Burkhead, Sonny Michel. Sounds like Michel's going to play today. He's going to make his debut. Leonard Fournette, we're going to talk about him more in a few minutes as well. It sounds like he might end up being dressed, but if he is, it doesn't sound like he's going to have too much of a workload today. So we'll keep monitoring that. But I definitely think it's popping, Jake. I think we need to start taking some questions. What do you think?
I think I've been trying to count as they've been scrolling by, and I think we're at 3,296 questions. So I hope you have a big bottle of water. I got my helmet, but it's not time for the helmet yet.
It's not time for the helmet.
We'll rapid fire here in a little bit, but yeah, we can get into some questions. Lots of questions going by, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help some people out.
Let's do it. Let's start taking some questions.
I got it pulled up here, and the first one I see is something we kind of just touched on, and it's a lot about Aaron Rodgers, obviously. And one of them says Rodgers or Dak, and that's from Reese Cologne. And we just said it. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, don't get overly cute. I said here earlier in the week that you got to watch it because if he's questionable come game time, I don't know if that's a risk I want to take. Well, he's for sure active. He's going to play. And if Aaron Rodgers is starting, then he should be in your lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that I worry about with him is if the game were to get out of control for some reason, they say, oh, no, we're going to get him off the field. But I just don't see that happening. I mean, the Bears defense is a really good defense. I mean, they were all over the Packers, all over Rodgers in the first half. And somehow he works that miracle and he comes back last week. So I am okay with you starting Aaron Rodgers and just going with it. Yep. Just put him in there. He's your QB. Yeah, nothing to see here.
Look for him to spend a lot more time in the shotgun, a lot more quick routes. They're not going to be, having a lot of time with him back in the pocket. They're going to try to limit the amount of hits that he takes as best as possible because the Vikings ended his season last year, and I don't think they want it to happen again this year.
Yeah, no, not at all.
What about Kenny Stills or Jordan Howard? This is from Zach Pratt. I guess he's looking for a flex play.
I'm going with Howard, especially how he was in the game last week. We know my love of Stills. I think he's a tremendous player this year, wide receiver too, all of that good stuff. But Howard had 5 receptions last week. So it looks like they're going to get him working in the passing game a little bit. I'm starting Howard.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. Howard too, with his improved production in the passing game, we can say Jordan Howard. Absolutely, he's my choice. I'm going to go with a flex spot of a running back as many times as I possibly can because I kind of want those for sure touches if I can get it.
Yeah, volume is the key in your flex.
Yep, absolutely. What about Dion Lewis or Chris Thompson in a flex play? This is for Dan Severance.
Chris Thompson.
Yep.
Not even. I like Lewis. I think he's better than Henry, but they're having issues on the offensive line there. Chris Thompson, he was a beast last year when he was healthy. He showed it again last week. Him and AP. I mean, AP is getting older. He's going to need a little bit more time off the field as the season goes on. lot of carries, even a couple of receptions last week for AP. But I'm going to stick with CT. He's going to give him some breaks and have some standalone value.
Yep, absolutely. Marcus wants to know if Yeldon is a must start this week now that we kind of think that Fournette's not going to play.
I don't think he's a must start. It has to be. I think it has to be PPR, and I think it depends on the rest of your team. I think if he's your running back 2, you're okay with it. If he's got to fill in for Fournette, who is your running back 1, at that point, if you don't have enough options, but yeah, more than likely, if you have Fournette and you're trying to now replace him, you need to put Yeldon in your lineup. If you didn't have Fournette and you just happen to grab Yeldon, it's going to depend on your team.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. What about, this is one I saw a lot this week also over on my channel, what about Andrew Luck or Patrick Mahomes? And this is from True Blue.
Ooh, this is a good one. Let me jump over here because I'm pretty sure I have Mahomes ranked higher this week.
You should.
Just want to verify that. I do. I have Patrick Mahomes as the QB5 at Pittsburgh. Probably a little bit of a shootout. Pittsburgh always plays well at home. So more than likely, there's going to be a lot of points scored this week there. With Andrew Luck, I've got him as QB10 at Washington. Probably going to have to play catch up. I do have him within that QB1 area. There's just a few QBs ahead of him that I like, but I'll run with Mahomes.
Yeah, I love Mahomes this week. It's a little bit of a gamble, a little bit, but the possibility of a shootout between him and Big Ben, I'm all over it this week, and I got a lot of shares of Patrick Mahomes this week.
Yep.
What about Randall Cobb or Tyler Lockett? Joshua Jackson is asking.
Randall Cobb for sure. Aaron Rodgers is QB2. We've already said start Aaron Rodgers if you have him. Devontae Adams has been questionable all week, so maybe if they're moving him on and off the field a little bit more than in previous weeks, Cobb gets a little bit more of just the targets to himself. I know a lot of people are in on Allison. Jimmy Graham is probably going to get worked into the lineup somehow this week, but Randall Cobb is my guy there. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, absolutely. We just talked about, Aaron Rodgers taking more snaps out of the shotgun, getting quick routes. That's Randall Cobb all day long. What about, let's see here. Here's one a little bit farther down the list. Christian A wants to know if we can go Sterling Shepard, or Deshaun Jackson in a PPR league.
That's a tough one. In a PPR league, I'm probably going to lean Shepard because I think he'll have more volume than what Jackson will.
Yes, I totally agree. And this is not a popular opinion, but I love the opportunity that the Giants offense has this week against Dallas. I'm looking for some pretty good production coming from a lot of those pieces there. So I go Shepard also. What about let me see, we got Terry McCready wants to know about Juju, T.Y., or Jarvis, and wants to know how we would rank them in a PPR league.
In a PPR league, Jarvis and Hilton are very, very, very close for me. I gave Jarvis a huge bump last night after the news. I do have Hilton a couple of spots ahead of him right now, just because Hilton has less weapons around him to deal with than Jarvis Landry does, but they're really close. I've got Hilton at wide receiver 8, Landry at wide receiver 10. Both of them are very close. And then Juju Smith-Schuster, he's even right behind them, so he's at 11. So they're all close for me. But yeah, Hilton, Landry, Smith-Schuster in that order.
And we're close. I have Landry, Juju, and T.Y., but like you said, they're all right there within the top 13 for me also. So they're all going to be great plays for the week. Let's see. We have, in a standard league, Royce Freeman or Kenyon Drake from Psycho62. Make sure you get this one right. It says he's Psycho.
Ooh, okay. I'm going Royce Freeman.
Okay.
Are you going Royce Freeman?
Yeah, I'm going Royce Freeman also. I think a lot of people hopped off the bandwagon a little bit too early last week. He did good with the amount of touches he had. He just didn't get enough touches, and I don't expect Phillip Lindsay to go out there and get 15 carries every week.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
What about T.J. Yeldon or LaShawn McCoy from Manny B?
Yeldon.
Isn't that
I know
sad?
we just talked about we don't know if he's a must start or not, but I'm not starting McCoy. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't think there's any league right now that I'm starting McCoy unless it's a super deep league. I just don't trust the offense. I don't trust any of it. Yep.
A Buffalo Bills only league.
Maybe that's the only way I own Shady. But even then, I may go Chris Ivory.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
What I've seen this name fly by, and I'm not going to answer a specific question. Well, I guess we can. It's Jamison Crowder or Dante Pettis, and Dante Pettis has been a name who's come up a lot here at the end of the week, especially since Goodwin got ruled out, and Pettis had a decent week last week when Goodwin went down, and I think Pettis has some sneaky flex upside in some of these deeper leagues this week.
Yeah. Now, one of my buddies texted me right before we went on and said, "What am I doing with Pettis?" I'm being careful because I think Pettis is more of your deep threat, big play guy, kind of like what Goodwin is. Garcon and Kittle are the two guys that I'm still leaning on there. Matt Breida getting some catches out of the backfield is what I'm still leaning on. I mean, on our sit show this week,
Easy for you to say.
Twice. My bad.
This
Anyway,
is your new helmet, Kyle.
I am not allowed to talk about the start sit show anymore. Ever. Okay. Anyway, back to the content. Oh man, I don't know what I'm doing with Pettis this week. I'm probably not playing him though. The Lions are much better against the pass than they are the run. I know last week, 45 points by the Jets. The defense didn't look great, but a lot of that was Crowell and Powell creating those opportunities on the ground for Enunwa getting a ton. Are we getting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I figured it was coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
For them getting those opportunities. So I'm good with it. I'm leaving him on the bench for right now. I'm going to play Garcon. I'm going to play Kittle. I think Morris has a good week. I think Breida has a good week. I don't think Pettis does anything for you unless he gets one of those big play touchdowns, and then maybe he gets you 10 points or so.
Yeah, 100% agree. I kind of think this may be the week that Matt Breida kind of, I don't want to say he pulls away, but I think he kind of establishes more of a role this week. Mm-hmm. What about Enunwa? Quincy Enunwa, let's talk about him for a second. He's somebody whose name keeps popping up all over the place, and he had a decent week one after coming back from an injury, and now all of a sudden he's somebody else who seems like a viable flex option from week to week, being that Sam Darnold came out and did pretty well for his first NFL career start.
Yeah. Enunwa was my boy. Before last season, I wrote an article, a breakout article. These are the guys to watch. Enunwa was the top of that list with Cam Meredith. Both of them go down with injuries, unfortunately. I was so excited to watch them. And we forgot about Enunwa because Robbie Anderson had a huge season last year. And I've been asking the question this week, did Robbie Anderson have a huge season last year because he was really the only guy? Or is he really that type of wide receiver? Last week, Enunwa goes out. He gets 10 targets compared to 11 total targets for the entire rest of the team. So he almost out-targeted every single player on the Jets combined last week. Enunwa's the guy. In PPR leagues, he is going to get the volume. Robbie Anderson is going to have those big touchdown-type looks with the 40-yard TD. His only catch last week, that's going to come up. But no, Enunwa is a must-start for me, honestly. Every single week in PPR leagues, I'm putting him in my flex or wide receiver 3 spot, and I'm being fine with it.
Yep, absolutely, 100% agree. I kind of lost track of things. Somebody put a burrito in the comments, and I got hungry. Just being real, people. I mean, I can sit here and pretend I didn't see the burrito, but I saw the burrito.
If you guys want to send burritos prior to the show next week.
I eat burritos. What about, we talked about Patrick Mahomes earlier. Is he borderline must start this week? I'm seeing a lot of Patrick Mahomes questions.
Yeah, I'm more than likely, if you have Mahomes, he's going to be your QB1. Maybe you got him as your QB2. That's great if you did. If you did, you probably have some really good options sitting in front of him. But he's my QB5 this week. So unless you have, and yep, honestly, I am blanking on who I have. So unless you have Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger, Deshaun Watson, or Drew Brees, you start Patrick Mahomes.
I even put him above Deshaun Watson this week.
Ooh, even against Tennessee, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Personally, I like the opportunity of the shootout there for Patty Mahomes. I'm all over it this week. My tail's wagging. You just can't see it. What about let's see, Cam Newton or Kirk Cousins from Ryan Dyer?
Cam Newton or Kirk Cousins? I'm going Newton. I'm going Newton for sure. I've got him as my QB1 this week against Atlanta. Atlanta is missing Deion Jones and they're missing Keanu Neal. Those are two big guys that would be used to shadow Cam Newton. Those would be the guys who would play kind of that shadow role, keeping an eye on him. They're out. I'm going with Cam Newton. I think he's going to have a big week in Atlanta. There's going to be a lot of scoring there. I know we're kind of on Atlanta's offense right now, but at home, it can roll.
Yep, absolutely. This is a great question, and the way he worded it makes it even better. Sean Auguste, let me go back to it here because it scrolled by, but the way he had it, it really caught my attention. How about Sony PlayStation or the Rex box?
I have not heard about Burkhead yet.
The last I saw is it sounds like he's going to play.
Yes.
Honestly, though, I'm kind of avoiding both of them, and it's not so much the Jacksonville matchup. It's just kind of we don't know exactly how much Sony Michel is going to get. And it could be, it could be a handful of touches. It could be 15 touches. In that offense with Bill Belichick, you really have no idea. So until those roles get defined, I'm kind of avoiding all of them for the most part.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, if you had to pick one of those two, I'm going to go Burkhead because I think Burkhead is going to get the majority of the carries. The one issue that I have with Michelle is the fact that he could really be utilized in the passing game, and James White is kind of that guy right now. So Burkhead is my guy. He's who I pick this week.
Yep, 100% agree. What about Deshaun Watson or Jimmy G for Joe Smith?
Watson.
Yep. That's close for me too. But Watson has it by a hair, but I think that defense in Detroit is made up of like old dried up super glue, not like right out of the bottle, but the stuff that's like been on something for a long time and maybe spent some time in the sun. That's like the limit of the defense in Detroit. Just throwing it out there.
That's a good analogy.
It's the first thing that came to my head. If you guys think I rehearsed this stuff, nope. Just whatever pops in my head. This is how I think. Is AP a must start against the Colts this week for Marcus Soto?
I believe we listed him as a must start on our show this week.
Yes, absolutely.
So yes,
absolutely.
he is.
Great opportunity.
I mean, if you think he's going to be a running back one, be careful about that. But I think he's a running back two this week for sure. Easy.
Yep, 100% agree. What about
Cole Beasley, Jesse?
What is his name, Kyle? Don't you dare mispronounce it here on the live show.
Oh, the Beazles. Jesse picked the Beazles.
We got a case of the Beazles, Jesse.
We got a case of the Beazles.
Joe, I know it was a little harsh, but I got to make sure I put my point across. What about Phillip Rivers or Russell Wilson? Two other big names that we've heard a lot about this week. And me personally, I'm leaning Rivers only because I expect them to be able to put up points at ease. And I'm not completely sold that Russell Wilson has enough weapons to put up a solid game. I think Russell Wilson is a gamble with better upside than Rivers this week. But you kind of going to want to take that chance. I just think Rivers is the safer play.
Don't you dare speak ill will on Mr. Wilson, Jake.
It's not ill. It's just, feeling.
Russell Wilson for me. I've got him as QB6. I do have Rivers right behind it. I think the thing that you have to look at here is that Russell Wilson against Chicago is more than likely to be a back and forth type game or a game where they have to continue to throw and throw and throw. Whereas with Phillip Rivers at Buffalo, I mean, you might see something here where Eckler and Melvin Gordon are the guys that they really just lean on the whole game and they run. I know Baltimore last week threw a lot, but that was weird. And I don't even know what's going on in Baltimore right now. That's a different story for a different day. But I would lean Russell Wilson this week over Phillip Rivers, but they're close.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's a question I've seen a lot too, and it hurts my heart to say it, but it's Larry Fitzgerald, and they want to know if we trust Larry Fitzgerald this week. I actually had him as a sit this week. Until that Arizona offense can figure things out and they have a better matchup than the Los Angeles Rams, I'm sitting Larry Fitzgerald this week. To me, it's too risky. I fully expect that offensive line to be abused by the Los Angeles Rams, and I'm praying for Sam Bradford.
Yeah, I've got Larry Fitzgerald at wide receiver 23 this week, and I think it tells you what I think about Fitzgerald this week, that I have Allen Robinson a spot ahead of him.
Wow.
So, yeah.
All right, well, now we got a lot of pizza here from Connor Sosnowski. He wants to know Breeze or Rivers?
Breeze.
I'm going Breeze also. I can see... I liked Breeze more when Josh Gordon was in Cleveland because I thought it'd be even more of a back-and-forth shootout. I mean, I don't know if Josh Gordon is the difference between a shootout or not, but it was just one more weapon for Tyrod to have. But I still think there's a lot of throwing back and forth in this game.
Absolutely. Well, we've reached that midpoint of the show, 12:30 now. So let's jump back over to some of the news and the notes real quick, just to recap here. So inactives, who we know is already out right now. Greg Olsen, obviously out. I'm thinking bumps to CMC and Devin Funchess, unfortunately, even though we have the hashtag never Funchess.
What about DJ Moore?
DJ Moore, I'm still not buying DJ Moore yet. I'm still not buying him. I mean, he didn't even have a catch last week. Did he have a target last week?
Wait, so you'd rather have Funchess than Moore?
Right now, I would, unfortunately. Never. And Moore in Dynasty Leagues, Moore was my wide receiver one in the draft last year. Incredibly talented. But his landing spot worried me, and we saw that in week one. So I think Funchess is going to continue to get those looks over Moore. Devontae Freeman is out. Tevin Coleman gets a huge bump for me. He's actually a running back one for me this week. Darren Sproles is out. So Corey Clement in larger leagues, PPR, Might want to take a look at him as a flex start. Alshon Jeffrey is out. Nelson Aguilar in PPR leagues gets a huge bump. Marquise Goodwin is out, so we're bumping Pettis and Garcon. Josh Gordon, obviously, all the talk there with him being done in Cleveland. Landry, Duke, Callaway, everybody. Njoku, they're all getting bumps for us this week. The early games that had questionable players going into today, Marlon Mack is active. Jake and I have already said we're staying away from that backfield right now. Paul Richardson is active. I would keep an eye on him this week, especially in deeper leagues, maybe a flex play, maybe like a wide receiver 3 play, possibly depending on how deep your roster is. DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller both expected to play. If you have Will Fuller, I would put him in as like a wide receiver 3 flex play. Don't know if I trust him as wide receiver 2 yet. Marcus Mariota appears to be active, but what's going to be happening there, we don't know. We're staying away from that situation. Deshaun Jackson is active. Devontae Parker is inactive. Rodgers and Devontae Adams are both going to be playing this week. Cam Meredith inactive as well. And before we keep going real quick, we just need to remind everyone out there watching that we have, for RotoBaller viewers, this week, we have a pretty cool offer for you. Our friends over at FanPix are hooking up all RotoBaller fans with some freebies. If you sign up now for a free FanPix account, you'll get a $25 voucher for select DFS contest. It's quick, it's easy, and it's free, which is the best part about it. And you don't even need to deposit. So go over there. Head over, just go to rotoballer.com/fanpicks and use the promo code BALLER25, that's BALLER25 to sign up. Every Sunday we'll be hosting our DFS free roll contest called the Magic Million. We all could use $1 million, couldn't we, Jake?
If we're handing it out, I would more than gladly accept.
Absolutely. So you're going to compete against other readers. You'll compete against myself. You'll compete against Jake. We have both of our lineups set already. It's free to enter. Cash prizes, no strings attached. Check out the entire FanPix profile of DFS contests, including easy pick games, in contest, and much more. Remember, just head to rotoballer.com/fanpicks to claim your $25. Try to beat Jake and myself this week in the Magic Million DFS free roll. Lineups lock at 1 p.m. Eastern. Good luck to you. Get over there and do that. Jake, have we reached that time of the show?
I think we're close, but I see a lot of pizza. Everybody's throwing food at me now. I talk about a burrito, and then I get all. I had a question go by with 36 slices of pizza, asking me Stills or Davis, and the answer is Stills. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name though, but Kenny Stills is the better choice.
Yes, absolutely. So here's the thing, though. Right now we have 600, I believe, about 643 people watching. Does that number look correct to you, Jake?
I could look here. Let's see. 643 sounds about right.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have about 640 people watching, somewhere in that area, but we only have 48 likes. So if you want Jake to let it flow and rapid fire some answers to you, we need some more likes.
Yes.
That's how this works, people.
Absolutely, 100% need the likes, because the likes get the helmet, and the helmet gets the people's attention, and the people's attention is what we're here for.
What do we call it, Jake? Hashtag give the people what they want. And they want the helmet. So if you're over on Twitter, retweet this right now. If you're on YouTube, we're going to let it flow here in a minute. Start hitting the like button. Let's get some likes in there. Jake is going to answer your questions for you, rapid fire. I'll still be here on the back end. I'm going to be doing some more sharing, resharing everything real quick, getting my notes updated so then we can continue after Jake lets it flow. The timer is always set at 2 minutes. 2 minutes to let it flow. Jake, I think you need to beat last week. What did you answer? About 60 questions in 2 minutes?
I don't know. Everybody was all over the place. It was high 40s, I think, somewhere right around in there.
Oh, man.
But we'll take it. Hey, we're up to 139 views, so we're getting closer.
All right.
But I got it right here. It's just off view. I can show you the tip of it, the helmet. You guys are horrible. You guys are horrible. But hey, no, I enjoy this. Should we go 2 minutes? 2 minutes on the clock? Is that what we're doing?
2 minutes. Do we increase it, or is 2 minutes good? Because that's what we've been doing.
2 minutes is good for my voice, but I'm willing to go maybe 2.5 minutes if the people hit the like button.
Ooh, 2.5 minutes. So we're gonna bump this up another 30 seconds on the timer here, real quick.
And then we're gonna let it flow. Rapid fire, helmet on, rapid fire engaged.
All right. 210 likes. So we're going to do it. Jake is going to let it flow. The helmet is on. We have got 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock for Jake to answer your fantasy questions. This is the best part of Sunday. Doesn't matter what show you're watching. It's right here. This is the best part. Tell your friends.
Yeah, you can watch other channels, but nobody else is doing fun stuff like this. Fantasy football is meant to be fun, and you know what? We're making it fun.
We are making it fun. Jake, are you ready?
Yes.
2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, getting ready to let it flow. Jake, 3, 2, 1, all you.
All right, Fuller or Landry? Definitely going Landry. Wow, they started going really fast all of a sudden. Royce Freeman or Carlos Hyde? I still like Royce Freeman a little bit more in this. I expect a lot more throwing in New Orleans. Stills over Cobb? That's a toss-up. I'm sticking with Cobb as long as Aaron Rodgers is playing, which he is. Devontae Adams or Mike Williams? Absolutely Devontae Adams. Yes, letting it flow right now. Stills or Marvin Jones? Give me Kenny Stills. Crowder or Enunwa? I like Enunwa a little bit more right now. Goff, Rivers, or Cousins? All three of them are solid plays, but give me Rivers this week. Drake or Enunwa? I'm sticking with Enunwa. I want nothing to do with Drake. Galladay or A-Rob? I do not like Allen Robinson. Give me Kenny Galladay. Barber, Breida, or Lindsey? Give me Breida. I think he has a breakout game this week. Crowder or Robbie Anderson? Definitely give me Jamison Crowder. Brandon Cooks or Tevin Coleman? I'm going Tevin Coleman with the running back spot there in the flex play. Fitzgerald or Ted Ginn? I'm going Ted Ginn, and I know that's bold. Brady or Stafford? Hard to sit the GOAT, but I'm going Stafford. I think he has a bounce-back week. Cook or Doyle? Give me Jared Cook. I'm still not sold that Jack Doyle is going to have a whole lot of production with Eric Ebron. Deshaun Watson or Alex Smith? Smith is the safer play, but give me Deshaun Watson. Got Rodgers or Cousins? Cousins is safer, but if Rodgers plays, you start him. He's playing, you start him. Kyle, I don't think he does that. Passing by it. Hogan, Cooper, or Davis? I'm not picking Cooper. Davis, no, going Hogan and praying to the Lord above that he gets some targets this week. Watson or Goff? Give me Watson. Goff is safe if you want to be, the safe type of play, though. Breida or Yeldon? I'm going Yeldon.
50 seconds.
Marshall or Jackson? I'm guessing that's Brandon Marshall, Deshaun Jackson. I'm going with Brandon Marshall. There are more targets. Ito Smith or Corey Grant? Wow, you're really diving deep. Hopefully you don't have to rely on either one, but give me Corey Grant. Royce or McCoy? Not playing McCoy. Give me Royce. McCoy or Thompson? Still not playing McCoy. Still going Thompson. Watkins or Stills? Stills is safer. Lockett or Watkins? Give me Watkins. Morris or Breida? I'm going Breida this week. Kyle or Jake? I'm taking myself every time. Sorry, Kyle. Cooks or Yeldon? I'm going Yeldon in the flex spot with the running back position. Hunt or McCaffrey? I don't want nothing to do with fantasy Ebola. Give me Christian McCaffrey. Cook or Graham? Rodgers is playing. I'm going Graham. Njoku or Ingram? Give me Njoku. I like the Browns' chances this week. Connor or Gordon? Gordon all the way, but I do like Connor. Start him in your flex spot. Anunwa or Aguilar? And I'm going with Anunwa.
There it is. 2.5 minutes of Let It Flow. Ooh. Feel like you need a little bit of a drink there.
I'm way good. That was a lot. That was the longest 2.5 minutes ever.
That was good. That was good. Lots of questions. We end up getting over 700 viewers, which is the most we've had so far. So thank you to everyone out there watching. We appreciate it. All the likes. Questions continue to come in. Take a second, Jake, to relax. We're going to be getting back to your questions here in a second. Just want to touch on a couple of things here real quick. So the one thing that we continue to have pop up are the Leonard Fournette questions. And because he's an afternoon game, we're not going to know what's happening out there either. So one thing that I just want to bring up here real quick. If you have Leonard Fournette, put him in your flex. Put him in your flex spot. Do not put him in a running back spot, because you'll have more opportunities to substitute him out if you need to. Now, if you have Yeldon as a backup, you're probably good at that point. You just take out Yeldon and you just take out Fournette and put in Yeldon if that happens. But if you don't own Yeldon and you don't know what's going to happen, put Fournette in a flex spot, or if you have enough depth to just leave Fournette out this week, do it. I am not playing Fournette this week. I have Yeldon in a couple of leagues where I have Fournette. I also have Yeldon. I already have Yeldon locked in, loaded, ready to go, and I'm not changing that even if Fournette is active. Also, just want to jump back to the Patriots backfield here real quick. It looks like Rex Burkhead is going to play this week, and it has been confirmed that Sonny Michel will be dressed today. But I'm not jumping on that Sonny Michel bandwagon
I'm
yet.
sure glad he showed up dressed.
Dressed? Oh.
That would have been really awkward for all the fans in the stadium.
That's a good point. You don't want to play football naked, that's for sure.
Just saying.
So over there in New England, what's going to end up happening with that? I'm staying away from Sonny Michel this week. I know if you drafted him, you're excited to get him in there. You probably really like him if he's on your team, but not this week. James White is going to continue to be that pass catching back for right now, especially because Michel hasn't been out there. So James White will have that role. Rex Burkhead looks like he's ready to go. If for some reason Rex Burkhead ends up sitting out, or if we find out later that he tried to go in pregame, maybe aggravated something, maybe couldn't go, then Michel at that point then picks up some more value. But Burkhead is going to get the majority of the carries this week. So I'm going with Burkhead over everyone in that offense. And then just want to touch base on the Lions backfield real quick. So LeGarrette Blount is questionable this week. But even if he is not, or even if he does dress, even if he is playing, I'm not interested in having anybody other. I'm not interested in having Blount or Theo Riddick in my lineup. I will go Kerryon Johnson this week, though. He seemed to look good last week. He seemed to be pretty effective, especially in an awful situation. So I'm going to go that route. What's going on now?
I just saw a question. Somebody says honey bunches of oats or the weird kid that ate the crayons in second grade. I'm taking the kid in second grade because that's impressive.
Oh,
sorry, I couldn't hold it together. I really tried, Kyle.
As soon as you started laughing, I was like, I have to get on what's going on here. So anyway, back to Lions backfield. Kerryon Johnson, I'm starting him this week if you have him as a running back 3 or flex play, unless you're super deep. I think he's going to get a lot of work this week. Theo Riddick had a lot of the touches last week, but I think Kerryon Johnson is going to continue to work his way in. Blount, I was high on Blount when he was signed by Detroit. I thought he was exactly what they needed. But then they drafted Kerryon Johnson, and then he looked awful last week. Negative yards last week. He was the only running back to have all negative yards last week in the NFL. So I'm not doing it this week. Kerryon Johnson, though, I think this is the week we see maybe that breakout. Maybe this is where that performance comes from.
I hope so. The only thing that worries me about Kerryon Johnson is the defense is so bad that they're usually giving up points and they're having to throw the ball.
Yep, and in that case, Riddick does take some value, but I think Kerryon Johnson actually has the best chance of previous Lions running backs to also fit in with Riddick and get some of those catches. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think we need to get back to some more listener questions. What are you thinking? What do we got here?
Yeah, we got a few coming in here. What about there's a question from Tenacious Rock wants to know about Fitzgerald or Crowder in a full PPR, and I'm going Crowder.
I have Fitzgerald above Crowder in full PPR this week. I feel like after last week, I just feel like we need to trust Fitzgerald a little bit more over Crowder this week. So I would go with Fitzgerald. It's close, but I have Fitzgerald at wide receiver 23 and Crowder at wide receiver 32. So I'm probably going to lean Fitz. Against Indianapolis, I just see a whole lot of AP and Chris Thompson this week. I think that's my reasoning there.
All right, so we're split. We probably didn't help you out a whole lot there, but we gave you a reason for each of them. What about, let's see here. Wow, this is really bold, but I'm going to say it because somebody asked it. Root Dog wants to know about Aaron Rodgers or Eli Manning.
I think it's a viable question. I don't think it's that bad, but Aaron Rodgers.
I had a bold statement over on my channel this past week. And if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check out my other channel. They're the Fantasy Headliners. It is I have Eli finishing as a top 10 quarterback this week.
Ooh, is that actually in your rankings or just a bold prediction?
That's a bold prediction in my start sit video for my quarterbacks this week. He put up 225 yards against a tough Jacksonville defense. Now, is that flashy? No. But I don't think people understand the potential of this offense yet with Pat Shurmur coming over there. Same type of offensive style that they had in Minnesota last year. And look what Case Keenum did in that offense. And now all of a sudden, Eli Manning has the likes of Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard and Odell Beckham. And now they have an improved offensive line and run game with Saquon Barkley. They could put it all together, and Eli could actually put together a string of a fefew solid starts here.
I have him at QB 16 right now, so not nearly as high as you, but the possibilities are endless when you play in an offense like that, and I think that's what's going to draw us to Eli Manning every single week. Now, is he going to be a QB1? The performance you saw last week is probably the performance that you're going to get all year long. I don't think there are going to be any tremendous performances. I don't think there's going to be any top 5 performances. Maybe on a weekly basis, like you said, he gets towards that top 10. But I think he's going to be good all year long, just not great.
I like good sometimes. Sometimes good is good.
good is better than bad.
That's right. What about
Or even okay.
Allen Robinson or Rashad Penny as a flex? If you are stuck debating on starting Rashad Penny, we maybe need to do like a little bit of a fantasy one-on-one afterwards, because Rashad Penny should be nowhere near your starting lineup.
Yeah, go over to rotoballer.com. You can sign up for one-on-one advice with any of our writers. I will be available later today, possibly. So we need to have a little bit of a talk there. But Allen Robinson, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What about T.Y. Hilton or Adam Thielen from Dylan?
Hilton.
I'm going Thielen. As much as I was going to go against Thielen, now that Aaron Rodgers is playing, if he can put together some type of performance that he put together the second half of last week, it's going to cause Minnesota to have to keep throwing the ball, and I think Thielen gets more targets. Diggs is more the big play guy. I would take Thielen there.
I think one name that we need to touch on real quick, because I keep seeing his name pop up a lot, is Philip Lindsay.
Yes.
I think we need to talk about him real quick. So what are your thoughts? I'll give it to you first. What are your thoughts on Lindsay?
I think the kid is electric. He's fun to watch. I think that they're going to continue to use him throughout the year, but I think expectations got way blown out of proportion after last week. I don't expect last week to be a consistent, week in, week out, 15 carries, targets in the passing game. I can't see that amount of work. That was more of he was the hot hand. They continued to give it to him, but Royce Freeman's going to eat into those carries as we go along. And he's a decent flex play in deeper leagues, but I got to see it more than one game before I start trusting to throw him in my lineup.
Yeah. So, and we talked about it on our start-sit videos this week.
Good job. Nailed it.
And even our waiver wire videos. So Philip Lindsay, I do not see him getting 15 carries a game. He's not built to be that running back. That's what Royce Freeman is there for. And I know we're really disappointed because we thought Royce Freeman was going to be this 3-down back. He was going to get all the touches. Believe me, I'm just as disappointed as you. And when I brought up Philip Lindsay's name, it was more like saying Devontae Booker's going to be out. But Philip Lindsay has made a name for himself at this point. So if you have Philip Lindsay, PPR only, I am not going Philip Lindsay in standard, and only in the flex position if you're absolutely needing help with it, because I think his value moving forward is going to be completely based on the catches. And they have Demaryius Thomas. They have Emmanuel Sanders. Royce Freeman can take some of those catches at any point. They have Cortland Sutton as well. There's just too many pass catchers there for me to believe that Philip Lindsay is consistently going to be even a top 24 back every single week in PPR leagues. The possibility is there, but I'm being careful with that situation, not expecting too much.
And even if you went out and spent a high waiver claim or a bunch of fab money on him, just be patient. Don't just think because you got him this week that you have to throw him into your lineup. Hopefully you didn't overspend, and hopefully he can carve out that role and continue to grow in it. But yeah, I got to see it more.
In the Scott Fish Bowl, where we get a $200 budget for the entire year, I saw multiple people drop $60 or $70 on Philip Lindsay this week. I picked up Philip Lindsay Thursday morning for free.
Yep.
Last week.
There you go.
Right before the breakout.
Absolutely. What about, so speaking of Royce Freeman, where does he kind of fall? I mean, the question is Royce Freeman or Isaiah Crowell. And Crowell had a great week last week. I think he only had 10 carries, but had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Was that a fluke, or is that something that we could kind of see constant production from, week in and week out?
Yeah, I don't think it's a fluke by any means, but I definitely think it's going to be kind of a game script dependent role. I get it. Baleo Powell is going to be the pass catching back. He's going to be the guy that can be on the field any single down. But I think we overestimate Crowell and how good he could be as a pass catcher. He worked as a pass catcher a little bit while he was in Cleveland. Duke Johnson went in and out with him. Crowell, I think, is going to be kind of dependent on what the score is. So if it's a close game or they're up, you're going to see more and more of Crowell. If they're lagging behind, if they're in a lot of hurry-up situations, then you're going to see a lot of Powell instead. So I think you have to play it week to week and just kind of see what happens with that. Royce Freeman, I do think, is a little bit of an easier play at this point because I don't think Philip Lindsay is going to continue to take all these touches away, all these carries away. I think Powell will take more carries away from Crowell, though. So as far as this week goes, I do have – I'm trying to scroll down. I have Crowell as my running back 30. I probably should have him a little bit higher than that, but again, just because I don't know the situation, I don't want to get ahead of myself. And I do have I do have Lindsay even further back than that in that wide receiver 39 range. So they're kind of close, but I would lean Crowell.
And a question from Brian Fung, too, is how much of a bump here? What's up with Njoku? Do we like him a lot more now that Josh Gordon is out of Cleveland?
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. I think what you saw in the preseason with David Njoku is kind of what you're about to see again. He's their new big down-the-field target, and I love it. I think Rashard Higgins and Antonio Callaway get a bump, but I think David Njoku benefits the most out of that whole group.
Yeah, I just have to jump back real quick because I realized I didn't answer the question specifically because I said Lindsey. It's supposed to be Royce Freeman.
Yes.
Royce Freeman, yes, I have him higher than Crowell. I have Royce Freeman as my RB18 this week.
What about Jordan Windsor wants to know Jarvis Landry or Emmanuel Sanders? And those are two great options.
Jarvis Landry.
But yeah, we both agree. We're going Jarvis Landry. All those targets that Jarvis is going to see this week, just more opportunities for him to break one or come down with a lot of catches. Let's see here. Still questions about Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Aaron Rodgers, if he's starting, which he is, then you're starting him. That's what you got to do. What about Sammy Watkins or Mike Williams from Spence 548?
That's a tough one.
It is.
I want to say Sammy Watkins, but I don't.
Well, nobody wants to say Sammy Watkins, but he kind of has to. It's what he has. I don't think he's excited about having Sammy Watkins, but
I'm going to go with Mike Williams. I'll go Mike Williams there. I want to say Sammy Watkins, but I just can't trust him right now. And Williams showed us some decent numbers last week.
Yep, I'm going Sammy for the only reason that I think the Chargers kind of get a lead there in the first half, and they rely more on the short passing game and the run in the second. And Sammy going up against a depleted Pittsburgh secondary, there's always that opportunity that he can bust a big one in a shootout, hopefully. Let's see here. I'm not talking about him.
Callaway or Trent Taylor in a deep full PPR league, Give me Callaway.
Yes, absolutely. Even though Kyle has a little bit of a thing for Antonio Callaway, it's still the right choice.
Yep.
Great question, Jack. Absolutely love it. Honey Bunches of Oats or Count Chocula?
Oh, man. I want to say Count Chocula. My inner 7-year-old self says Count Chocula.
And I'm going to agree with you because it's got chocolate in it. Let's see. What are my thoughts on the Bears? Malia. I love the Bears' defense. I'm not quite sold on the Bears' offense yet, personally. It's not their offense as a whole. It's Mitch Trubisky. I think he's got a lot of weapons. I just don't think he knows how to utilize all of them yet. And it's not to say it's something he couldn't figure out here in a few weeks, but as of right now, I'm not trusting that offense outside of Jordan Howard for the most part.
Yeah. So one of our viewers, my name is Snowy. I feel like he continuously pops up. He's talking about Drake, Stills, Barber, or Cole as his second flex. Leaning Drake, but Stills is tempting against New York. Devontae Parker is out again. Give me Stills all day long as a flex play.
Yep,
100%.
Absolutely agree there, Kenny Stills. HM Solutions, I see you out there. Appreciate the love. What about? Let's see if we can get some bigger names that we're seeing fly through here. What about Kenny Galladay or Royce Freeman in your flex in a PPR league for Mark McMahon?
You're testing me there.
I know.
And after Galladay's performance last week, you want to definitely say Galladay, but we have to remember that Galladay also had a hot start to last season, and the Lions had to throw it a lot last week. I'm going to go with Royce Freeman this week.
Yep, I agree. Nugmaster, I didn't see your whole question, but I saw Jarvis Landry in there. Appreciate it, and we're going Jarvis. I know Kyle's answer. I'm not even going to ask it to him because I read his mind. Let's see here. What about Matt Breida or Carlos Hyde in a full PPR league?
Carlos Hyde.
I'm torn. I think Hyde gets more touches. I think Breida gets less work, but he may get more production. I'm going Breida.
Okay.
Even though I like both of them.
Hyde is the running back 1 in Cleveland. That's why I'm going to go with him.
Yeah. Heck, by the end of the day, Breida may be the number 1 in San Francisco.
Yeah, Breida and Alfred Morris had exact 50-50 split in touches last week. Yep. And just to throw that out there real quick, every week I'm doing a new article series where I break down touches, not catches, not carries, but touches as a whole, how much touches are going around on each team and who's getting the majority of them. So keep an eye out for that next week. Yep,
absolutely. We got a couple more minutes here. We're getting close to kickoff. We only got 5 minutes before the 1 o'clock hour. Dude, Mike, what do you think? 2 or 3 more questions, Kyle, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yep, let's get 2 or 3 more.
2 or 3 more. What about Kelsey or Kittle? That's a good one. Haven't done too much tight ends. What do you think about those two?
I have to go Kelsey. Top 3 tight end.
Kelsey this week, yes, I agree. In that matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers and their lack of defensive secondary, Kelsey is the better play this week. What about we did that one already. We was trying to get some different names up in here. Let's see. What about, we haven't seen this name too much, Ted Ginn or Jarvis Landry. Same game, but we're still going Jarvis.
For sure, Jarvis.
Yeah. Let's see. We got the weekly Pepsi or Coke question. That one's not going to count, though. What about Will Dissly? I'm seeing a lot of Will Dissly. Is he a real tight end or a 1 week wonder?
No, I'm keeping my eye on him for sure, 100%.
I'm watching him, but I'm not starting him.
Yeah.
I would maybe pick him up if you haven't, but it's not something I'm going to throw in there. I mean, he's been typically a pass blocking tight end. It was a great week. They need options in the pass game. I got to see it again.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's do one more. What about Eric Ebron or David Njoku?
Njoku.
I'm going Njoku also. I think Doyle and Ebron kind of cancel each other out, and Njoku's in for a big bump. Absolutely, 100% agree. All right, Kyle, you want to wrap it up here?
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Again, another great show today. If you're over on YouTube, thank you so much to that community. So many questions rolling in. Absolutely love it. Over 700 viewers today. We thank you so much for tuning in every single week. This makes this whole situation surreal. We do this for you. We love this. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it more than we could ever say. So thank you again for tuning in this week. Just a couple of things to touch on real quick. Again, Marlon Mack is active this week. Will Fuller is active this week. Devontae Parker is inactive. Rodgers and Adams are going to play. Cam Meredith is inactive. Keep an eye on Sonny Michel and Rex Burkhead as we lead up to that game this afternoon. Leonard Fournette, that situation we also have to keep an eye on as well, too. Thank you again to everybody. Make sure you head over to RotoBaller.com, okay? Your go-to for fantasy football this year. We've got you covered at first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to have waiver wire articles hitting. So if you need to hit the waiver wire, we're going to have those for you either late tonight or tomorrow morning already to go. I do the wide receiver waiver wire article every week, so be there for that. Download the the RotoBaller Fantasy Football app as well. Apple, you can get on Apple, you can get on Android, either one. Download that. You get all of your waiver wire information right there. You can set news and alerts to come straight to your phone from the app. I was getting alerts all week long as they were happening. I absolutely love having it on my phone. So make sure you download it. All of the articles, even including mine that I write, you can find there as well. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you're also going over and subscribing to Jake's YouTube channel as well. He's got tons of great content over there. Jake, give us your information real quick.
Yep, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at Fantasy Headliners. That's FNTSY Headliners. And then absolutely on YouTube also, the Fantasy Headliners is the name of the channel. Looking forward to as many people as we can help each week.
Yep. And here, Jake and I do the Roto Revolution every single week here on RotoBaller YouTube. We've got at least 3 shows a week. We try to do a live show during the week as well. Unfortunately, the storm messed with us a little bit this week, but that's okay. We're getting by it. And then, of course, the live show every Sunday, RotoBaller Game Day from 12 to 1 right here as well. Follow me on Twitter as well, at KRich1532. Kickoff is in 2 minutes. We're going to let you go. Go set your lineups. Get ready to roll. Good luck to everybody this week in week 2, and we will see you right back here next week.
Yep, good luck, everybody. Have a good week.